to do with Diana being arrested?
We all do. You're trying to hit us with a fucking Rico, y'all.
Diana Tate. I'm representing her on the drug arrest.
This blows your cover. You ready for that?
I am.
Right? I got a job for you.
Y'all out here trying to set up Effy?
I'm trying to handle the Rico that's about to bite us in the ass.
So we're at that stage of the season where we should expect some fireworks. Episode 8 in the Power universe is always a huge episode, and I expect the same for Season 3. But just before we dive deeper into the preview for Season 3, Episode 8, I do believe there's going to be a break after this week, which means Ghost will be returning with Episode 9 on May the 19th. But long-term subscribers will know this gives us a time to reset, rewatch the season, and analyze the characters in a bit more detail going into the home stretch. So I will be bringing in-depth character analysis breakdowns for Tariq St. Patrick, Kane, and everybody else. So that's just a bit of housekeeping out the way, so back to business. Episode 8 will be one where we see Diana under extreme pressure to flip. Tariq knows that Saxe is a mole, and that means at some point Davis will as well. So is it finally the end of the road for Cooper Saxe? Is it finally time for one of the OGs to bite the dust? And the same goes for Theo, because we all know he's battling an illness, so these characters definitely go hand in hand. Now there's of course the other major storyline with Effy being set up, but based on the exclusive clip that was released earlier in the week, I really do believe it was classic trailer manipulation at its finest. With Drew, he's gonna start to act a little reckless, and we're gonna see the aftermath of the Ponzi scheme. Now the title of episode 8 is Sacrifice, and the synopsis reads, the feds apply pressure to get their suspect to flip. Drew's sudden erratic behaviour leads the Castillos to grow suspicious. As Tate prepares to go up against his political opponent, Harper questions his ethics. Now sacrifice is something which I think is self-explanatory, but in episode 8, I think we're going to come across a scenario where sacrifice will come in different ways, from the street game, law enforcement, to politics. But there really is only one place to start, and that's with Jenny Sullivan and Blanca Rodriguez applying pressure on Diana. Throughout Season 3, law enforcement had trouble getting their Rico off the ground, and getting evidence to build their case. But ever so slowly they've started to make their breakthrough with the help of Junior, Paz Valdez's son. So at the end of episode 7, we saw law enforcement making their first move in arresting Diana, and so no doubt, we're going to see Jenny and Blanca applying a hell of a lot of pressure and trying to get Diana to flip. But based on the exclusive between Diana, Davis and Saxe, I think Diana's going to stay strong. Later on in the season, I do think Diana could definitely flip the script when and if she finds out about Monet's involvement in Lorenzo's death, but at this moment in time, I definitely do not expect her to talk. So over to Cooper Saxe and Davis. We're going to see Saxe come into the precinct to represent Diana, but behind him is Davis, who's going to catch him talking to Jenny Sullivan, and it seems like Saxe is ready for his cover to be blown.
Okay, Diana, first off, from now on you only talk to me.
Us.
Now based on how this conversation went down, I definitely think Davis knows. He has to have spoken to Tariq beforehand, because he didn't want Diana to say anything in front of Cooper Saxe. Now when Diana was just about to admit she knew the context of the bag and what was in the lockers on Stansfield's roof, Davis spills his coffee all over Saxe on purpose, while sliding a note over to Diana, which reads, "Put Saxe on Effy, trust me." So it does seem like the plan to set up Effy is a plan that's made between Davis, Tariq St. Patrick and Monet Tejada, and they need Diana's help, which also does make me think it's not what it seems. We're going to see Effy being chased by law enforcement and definitely being caught, because she will come face to face with Lauren at some point. So I am in two minds about this being a setup, because Effy will get caught at some stage with Blanca Rodriguez or Jenny Sullivan standing behind her as Lauren rolls down the window, and I can't wait to see Effy's face. But I only speak about trailer manipulation, and Power definitely do a great job in making us think one thing but completely sending us down the wrong direction, so it's just something to bear in mind. So with Effy coming to the Tejada house, I wonder if this was before or after she gets roped up by the feds, but either way, I do expect Effy to be in a lot of trouble at some point, and Diana to walk free. So where I don't expect Diana to talk, can we really say the same for Effy? I'm not really sure we can, especially based on her past. Now Effy's also a character who holds the key when it comes to Noma's daughter, because she holds a picture, and she's also someone who helped Tariq with no cap all frap on Wall Street. So if she's pulled in for questioning, and if she's looking at some major time, could she flip? I do think it's a conversation we need to have, especially because she's burned Tariq before. But what about her relationship with Kane? Earlier in the week I broke down how we're yet to see the scene that we saw in the official trailer, and with Effy and Kane getting closer and closer, with Kane paying for Effy's Stansfield tuition, I really do believe we're closer than ever when it comes to them getting together. Now moving on to Rashad Tate, it seems like we're going to see Tate in a battle with his opponent, and the Westons attending his political debate, with Braden less than impressed sitting mid between his father and Lucas Weston, and that's because he knows about the Ponzi scheme. Now one key element I do want to touch on when it comes to Tate's political campaign is that he accepted a donation from the Westons thanks to Braden in episode 2. So with Weston Holdings being exposed as a Ponzi scheme, I really do wonder if this could buy Rashad Tate later down the line. Not only has he accepted money from Braden Weston, he's also funding his campaign through illegal drug money from Tariq St. Patrick, so that could also have a negative impact for Tate going forward, especially when this Ponzi scheme comes to light. So on the Ponzi scheme, we see Brayden face to face with Kiki, who's one of the key players in scamming investors at Western Holdings. Maybe because Hare and Lucas are scared about what Brayden's next move is, but they also hold him as a prisoner because they know he's been drug dealing on Wall Street with Tariq St. Patrick. So it is a sticky situation for Brayden, although I do believe he does need to be honest with Tariq, especially after what happened with Lauren, and I think he will be. Tariq's trust fund is in big trouble, so is RSJ's investment, and so is the Tejada's legit cash, as well as Lorenzo's life insurance policy. So we are going to see RSJ and Tariq in what looks like a serious conversation. Again, this is something I broke down earlier in the week in extreme detail, and one key element I raised was Tariq very well may have two big players in his corner. RSJ is the obvious one, but let's not forget about Simon Stern, who has a vested interest in Tariq graduating from Stansfield. He stands to gain club truth when Tariq graduates, so I wonder if Simon Stern could play a part, but RSJ definitely will, although I don't think he's going to be too happy when he finds out. He's someone who came up with not so much of a privileged background, creating his empire brick by brick. So I don't think Lucas Weston wants to come up against someone like RSJ, because I think there's going to be only one winner. I'm also intrigued to see RSJ's second phase, if he taps into his past.
If I was judged by who I was when I was 19, people wouldn't trust me today either.
He said if everybody took him for who he was before, then he wouldn't be given a chance either. So I think there's still a lot more to learn when it comes to RSJ and his background. Now, when it comes to Drew, according to the official synopsis for episode 8, he's going to be a little reckless. And that's because he not only just lost Gordo, he had to put a bullet in someone who he loved, because that was the man who killed Lorenzo. So going into episode 8, expect questions to be raised around Gordo's disappearance, and Drew will definitely be at the center of it all. Drew and Gordo were in an open relationship. Monet knew about them, and so did the Castillos, so I'm expecting Drew to face some questions. Eventually I also do see this causing a war and a rift with the Castillos, maybe not so much in episode 8, but they'll definitely set the foundation, because I expect episode 8 to focus a lot more around Diana and the Rico, and most likely the Ponzi scheme. But a war with the Castillos is definitely coming. Evelyn was afraid of losing her boys, which is why she didn't want revenge on Lorenzo, so Drew's actions, whatever he does, will definitely raise questions. Now elsewhere we've got Kane and Drew with a remote in hand, and they do seem a little shocked at what they're watching, possibly on TV. Let's not forget, the last time we saw them watching TV was after the report of Mecca's death, so are we in for another? This is an episode which I think we all know is going to be a big one, which I think is going to end in a death for at least one character, and if I was a betting man, I'd bet my money on Cooper Saxe. But could Theo also go down with him? I also raised a potential theory of him committing suicide, so there's also Theo, but either way, I do expect one of those characters to bite the dust, or even both, who knows, nobody is ever safe in power. So drop all your thoughts and theories and death predictions down below in the comment section, and of course if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.